Recording in progress.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Congregation of Lynchburg. We are glad you are here. Whoever you are, whatever your beliefs, whatever your age, whatever your gender identity, and whomever you love, you are welcome here. As we gather for justice, compassion, and peace, we also acknowledge with humility that our building sits on Monacan land. My name is Teresa Odell, and I have been attending here almost 2 years this March, the very beginning of March. If you are with us for the first time on Zoom or in the sanctuary, we are glad you chose to be here this morning to participate in the service for this congregation we love. If you would like to receive our monthly newsletter and Friday email updates, visit our website and fill out If you would like to receive our monthly newsletter and Friday email updates, please fill out the virtual visitor card found on our website, uulynchburg.org, under Sunday Services. Or fill out the yellow card found in the back of the chair in front of you and place it in the offering basket during the offering. We want to offer a special welcome to our Generosity Sunday benevolent speaker, Nancy Hubbard from the YWCA. Reverend Terry is in South Carolina dealing with a family health emergency. She will return in a few days. Do we have any announcements? Now I invite us to release our worries about the world and our lives, in our own lives, as we enter into the service by taking some slow, calming breaths. Let's take a moment now to wave and to greet our friends on the Zoom, and for our Zoom folks to wave good morning to those of us in the sanctuary.
Now join together as we light our chalice with the words printed in your bulletin. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O Spirit of life. I invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and join us for hymn 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door. My name is Courtney Senna, and I'm the Director of Lifespan Engagement for this congregation. And I would like to invite all of the young ones and young at heart to join me down front for a story time. Okay. Am I? Will you mind listening to the story and run upstairs and get the box of racks off of the table and bring them back for everyone? Thank you. I have to. So today we are going to be reading a story about two people called David and Goliath. Has anybody ever heard of them? Yeah? What do you know about David and Goliath, briefly? You don't know? Do you know something, Cece? They are from the Bible. Excellent. That's very good. All right, so we're going to learn a little bit more about them. So at the beginning of the story, we hear about someone named Samuel. Samuel grew old and wise and guided the people of Israel. Then the people decided they wanted a king like the other nations around them. God chose a man named Saul to become king. Saul was a good leader, but he disobeyed God. So God selected a new king, David, the youngest son of a man named Jesse. No one else saw what God saw in David. David's father just saw his baby boy. David's brothers saw a younger sibling. The townspeople saw a small child, an insignificant shepherd. But God saw a king in David. So let's find out what we see there. David was a good-hearted boy who took care of his father's sheep. He was kind to the lambs and loved them. David also loved singing and playing his harp. But more than anything, David loved God. One day, David's father sent him with bread and cheese to his brothers, who were fighting in King Saul's army. The shepherd boy delivered the food to his brothers and began to talk to the troops. "How's the battle going?" he asked. "Not so good," answered the soldiers. "Our enemy has a giant named Goliath on their side. Look at him over on that hill. He's going to kill us all." David looked at Goliath. "He is bigger than big," thought the boy. But Goliath's size did not bother David. He marched up to King Saul and volunteered to fight. "You?" the king laughed. "Is this a joke?" David spoke up. "I have killed a lion to protect my sheep and a bear all by myself. The Lord who rescued me from the lion and the bear will save me from Goliath." King Saul replied, "Well, all right, go ahead and try." He gave David armor and a helmet, but they were far too big for this small boy. "All I need is my sling," David said. David stopped at a stream to gather 5 smooth stones. Do you want to pass this around so everybody can take one? Goliath laughed at the sight of the small boy, but David wasn't afraid. He put a stone in his sling and whirled it at the giant. The stone clobbered Goliath right in the head, and the enormous giant toppled to the ground. The Israelites cheered for the little warrior. David won the battle for them, and he did it all with his one stone. So while you were gone, Cece told us that the story of David and Goliath is from the Bible, and so this is a whole collection of Bible stories. But we're just reading the one about David and Goliath today. So upstairs in RE, we've been talking about inclusion this month, right? And inclusion means we invite people in and we don't put them out, right? And so today, we're going to be talking about how important it is to bring our own selves in. We have to love ourselves, right? Because to be able to love and help others, we first have to love ourselves. And we are such an amazing kind of self. And so down here, the grown-ups today are going to be talking about the ways that we can use our love and our values to go out and help the world. And upstairs in RE, you all are going to be talking about the ways that you can learn to remember to love yourselves and love yourselves a little more deeply. And you get to take your stones with you, because one of the things you're going to be doing up there is
painting rocks.
Yeah, we're going to turn them into love rocks so that you will take them home and have them as a symbol of why you, to help you remember the things that you love most about yourself. And you have lots of other fun projects too. And I'm going to be down here today, but you have Miss Audrey and Miss Izzy to go upstairs with you, and they have so much fun planned. All right? So make sure you have your rock before you go upstairs, because that's going to be part of your project. And have fun.
All right, today is our monthly Generosity Sunday, and our guest is Catherine Hubbard, or I'm sorry, Nancy Hubbard, I apologize, of the YWCA, it's misprinted in the program, who will tell us about the sadly necessary services they provide to people in need in our area.
Thank you so much for inviting me into your home today. I'm very honored to be here. My name's Nancy Hubbard. I'm the new executive director of the YWCA. Most people get us confused with the YMCA because 100 years ago when we were founded, there were two organizations set up for the well-being, one of men, one of women. And over time, our directive has changed. We still continue doing the same thing that we've been doing in Lynchburg for 112 years, and that is empowering women. We've added fighting racism to that, and the two are highly related in what we do. We try to help everybody who is in need in certain areas, and I'll tell you what we've been doing for about 75 years. We have started programs, again, 75 years ago, that help people in times of crisis and trauma. And the two areas that we specialize in are sexual assault and domestic violence. So we serve Lynchburg and the 6 surrounding counties. We have 2 safe houses. One is here, one is in Alta Vista in Pittsylvania County. If you think the area that we cover is about 400,000 people, statistics show 36% of women in their lifetime will experience domestic or sexual violence firsthand. It means they've experienced themselves. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. It's everywhere. They'll experience it firsthand as a child watching a parent being beaten, as a neighbor where a woman usually will come and take safe haven in their home. If you look at the number of women in this church, the statistic is probably 20 people here will experience this in their lifetime. It's shocking how it is everywhere. So what we do is we provide what we call wraparound services. We try to help protect the victims, again, men and women, but mostly women, who experience this. The earlier we can protect them, the better off we are in trying to keep them safe. Last year alone, we had 3 women in Lynchburg alone die of domestic violence just in the city. That's not taking into account the counties. 3 lives taken unnecessarily. So the services we offer, one is we have a sexual assault response unit based in Centra, working very closely with the police. And what we do, if a victim of sexual assault is brought to the hospital, we then go stay with that victim throughout what is a horrifically traumatic time. We give them comfort, we give them information, we work in liaise with the forensic nurses and doctors and with the police department to make sure that the patient is taken care of in the proper way. We also train the police and forensic nurses to make sure that they have experience in this and they know exactly what to do. We then pass on to our next service, which is a court advocate. We have a person that will accompany a victim of domestic violence or sexual assault throughout their time in the court system. We drive them to court often. We are there. It is a bewildering array of events that happens to a victim or now survivor of violence. You get protective orders. You have the ability to go get your things out of your house. You may have your house. It just when this happens to you, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, you don't expect it. You in many cases, people flee with just a toothbrush, not even a toothbrush, they're children, and they get out of the house. They have nothing. So what happens is a court advocate will go help them provide the services that are available, legal aid, et cetera, and get them sorted and situated and safe. The third service we offer are 2 safe houses. We operate 2 of the 3 safe houses in the 6-county area. One is here in Lynchburg and the other, as I said, in Alta Vista. We have clothing stores, food pantries, goods that you need for living there that the survivors can then get free, obviously, and so that they can have a safe place to live, which is away from the person who committed the violence. We have accommodation for children, so entire families come. We have 4 families there at the moment, as well as individual women. Again, they have a case manager who works with the court advocate, and to make sure that everything is seamless, that they get everything they need. We also have long-term housing, which is based in Church Street, very close to here. What happens with survivors of domestic violence, the person that was the abuser is their person who they looked after them financially in many cases. They have nowhere to go. So we have long-term housing for people to live at. We have a really nice family environment there. Everyone has their own private room, and then we have shared lounges, kitchens. We do activities. On Friday, we had Valentine's Day bags for all the ladies. We have approximately 30 women living there. One young lady has been living there for 23 years. So the average woman lives there from 5 to 8 years before. Sometimes they move in with family, sometimes they don't have family. And they don't need to be a survivor of domestic violence to live there. The last 2 more things that we do, we provide education for both the police, the court systems, the nurses, to make sure that they understand best practices on dealing with cases of domestic violence. And we were talking earlier, the difference between a trained police officer and an untrained police officer is night and day. I have experienced both, and it is the difference between saving a life and not saving a life, because often they will leave the victim in the house with the abuser, and the victim doesn't come out alive the next time. So the last thing that we do is, I will leave it on a much more happy note. We operate the Church Street Bridal, which is actually on Main Street to confuse everybody. And that is, all of our dresses are donated by very well-known designers. She said yes to the dress in Atlanta. They send us dresses, the television show, and all of the proceeds, 100% of the dresses, go to supporting our mission. The dresses, some of them were $6,000, $7,000 dresses, and they sell for between $600 and $900. So we also have prom dresses, just coming up to prom season, that are greatly reduced. So that is what we do. What we need from you is we really love donations, because we're trying to operate in a government both at a state and federal level where funding for these programs is disappearing. We have $1.2 million of grants coming out of the Office of Violence Against Women, and the office is now officially closed. So we will lose $1 million of funding, and we somehow have to replace this to keep our services going. The other thing that we really need is we need volunteers. We need someone who is willing to be trained to be a sexual assault response person. You'd maybe go one night a month, you'd be on call in case there was a man or woman, usually a woman, who comes into Centra and has faced sexual assault, and you would then go and be with that person, stay with them until they are handed over to their caseworker within the YWCA. So I have information outside, I've left that. I have cards also, and I will stay till the end if anyone is interested. The training, obviously all of this is free to anyone who's a volunteer. We have volunteer court advocates too. We have people who volunteer in many different areas, but what we really need is volunteers for our sexual assault response team. And it could be as little as one evening a month. Let's hope you don't get called, because it means there hasn't been an assault, but you'd be ready there for a victim of sexual assault if there's a call. So thank you very much, and again, thank you for welcoming me into your home.
So this is a cause that is personal to me. If you've been coming here for a while, I've mentioned my daughter, who, as it turns out, today's her birthday, she's 32. She was a victim of domestic violence. Her live-in partner choked her to the point of passing out. And that was the gradual escalation over time, but it was the tipping point for her to leave him and move in with us. Now, she had us to fall back on, but it's so wonderful to know that women who don't have family to fall back on and who usually are made helpless because of the partner that they've chosen, who've set them up for this, to be unable to leave to do this. So I'm going to ask you to give until it hurts. All loose cash in the offering baskets today, and then any checks made out with Generosity Sunday or YWCA in the subject or the note line or whatever, memo line, will go to this. If you are putting your pledge money in the offering, please put it in an envelope with your name on it so it will not get mixed up with the money for the YWCA, and you will get credit for money towards your pledge. It is our tradition to share the joys and if you could just give me a moment here. Spirit of life and love, spirit of resistance, spirit of generosity, that which serves as our conscience in this work. That we do to dismantle white supremacy, to empower the marginalized, to insist that Black lives matter. We have been angered, we have been saddened, we have been pushed to the brink once more. We are also inspired and seem resolved to do better this time, not to simply to get to the other side of this moment, but to get there morally healthier. To be a safer space for transgender bodies, immigrant bodies, Black and brown bodies, the bodies of all who have been marginalized and demonized by the privileged and powerful. Spirit, help us to understand that we each have a role in justice work, for our liberations are tied to one another's. Give us the clarity of mind to know what our individual part is in the struggle, that there are many ways to protest injustice. Help us to find our way and commit to it. Spirits, we ask for guidance. Send us strength and endurance. Help us to give our all to this and hold nothing back. For precious lives depend on it. We will be imperfect. Rest assured that we will mess up over and over again, and we must do it anyway. May we summon the courage to tear down the system of injustice and get busy creating a world community with justice for all. May it be so. Blessed be. And now I'm just so happy and delighted to introduce Sarah Beck, who is going to sing one of Courtney and I's favorite songs.
Can you all on Zoom hear me if I kind of half mic myself and half mic this guitar? Yay, good. I reckon, Tina.
Sounds good.
I grew up in a Unitarian Universalist church, and a couple different ones, one in Durham, North Carolina, and then one in Columbia, Maryland. And it's absolutely one of the first places I learned the importance of doing whatever you can do, finding your piece of the puzzle, finding your stone to lay that contributes to the bigger cathedral that we're all building. And that's what this song is about. It's called One Stone. I'm sitting down to write a song, been humming it for days, but the words are finally coming to me now. I don't know if this old world will ever hear what I've got to say, but I guess I'm gonna say it anyhow. 'Cause we are building a cathedral, monument to heartache and happiness, and I am willing, yes I am able, to pick up my pen and paper and labor with the rest. And when the world stares in wonder, I will know that I laid one stone. I've traveled over rocks and seas, and everywhere I go, beauty's always calling out my name. I do my best to answer, I walk soft and whisper low, but sometimes even then she slips away. But we are building a cathedral, a monument to heartache and happiness, and I am willing, yes I am able, to pick up my pen and paper and labor with the rest. And when the world stares
One of the well-known stories in the Hebrew Scriptures is about David and Goliath. David, a youth and shepherd, volunteers to fight the giant warrior Goliath. David defends Goliath not with armor and a sword, but with a stone and sling. David picks 5 smooth stones from the ground, takes aim with one of the stones in his sling, and hit Goliath in the forehead. Goliath falls, defeated.
I just want to say thank you to Sarah for that amazing song. I really enjoyed that very much. All right, David, can we get the responsive reading on the screen? And we are going to invite you all to read the words in italics. When we get to that part, hopefully it's...
Yeah.
We gather as Unitarian Universalists to understand, articulate, and live our liberal religion. David brought down the giant Goliath with 5 smooth stones, but we use our 5 smooth stones to build a more just, loving, and free world. Our first stone reminds us that we are part of a living tradition in which revelation is continuous.
Together, we engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Our second stone reminds us that we freely choose to enter into relationship and community with one another.
Together, as people of conscience, we build relationships of justice, equity, and compassion that further the wholeness of the interdependent web of all existence.
Our third stone reminds us that we have a moral obligation to work toward establishing a just and loving community.
Together, we speak and act prophetically with the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all.
Our fourth stone reminds us that good things happen as a result of human effort.
Together, as beings with inherent worthiness and dignity, we create goodness and virtue. Our fifth stone reminds us that the divine and human capacities for achieving meaningful change are reason for optimism.
Together, we may be hopeful that change will occur toward a more just, loving, and free world. The roots of our living tradition have been developed over centuries, but new ideas and understandings are still being revealed.
Some stones are smooth and polished, while others are newly found and rough.
We are part of this living tradition. Through it, we become whole, and through us, our tradition becomes whole.
Most of us have come here from another or even from no religious background. We have shed ideas that caused us suffering and anguish, ideas like the guilt of sin and the threat of punishment. We are in the process of pruning away what has caused us harm and stifled our growth. For example, I am working to shed mistrust and a need for control that comes from childhood trauma. I'm working to shed a worldview tainted by unconscious racism and classism.
I have shed ideas such as the harmful aspects from my Christian upbringing, naming specifically the concept of sin, not as an absolute, but as an arbitrary cudgel of control and alienation. I've also been working on shedding my feelings of imposter syndrome that denies me my inherent worthiness and instead leads me to believe that I must always earn my place. For example, I am partially driven to contribute myself to this church by doing as much as I can to serve the congregation in order for me to feel like I belong, rather than knowing that I belong just because I am. In our congregation and across the UU community, we are building a new theology using our 5 smooth stones. Our theology reminds me that we always have the possibility to change and that the goal of building a better world is worth the work it takes.
The liberation theology from Latin America and the American Black church experience offer us wisdom about how to be people of faith, living our values. We tend to consider liberation as a personal experience, but liberation theology reminds us that liberation must also be about freedom from institutions that oppress humanity. As people of faith, we are called to empower liberation for all people, to side with the poor, the marginalized, and the disenfranchised. All the great spiritual teachers have taught us to live with mercy and compassion, justice, and love. Now we are faced with the reality that we are called to live our faith in new ways. One aspect of being a congregation is that in the midst of the chaos around us, we need to become an island of sanity. The eye of the tornado that is calm as the chaos circles around us. The convergence paper we have addressed the last couple of weeks, that is the who do we want to be in the age of collapse that we've been working our way through, suggests that there are 4 ways that religious communities can live their beliefs in this time of collapse. 2 weeks ago, we explored suggested actions we could take to make a difference.
So as the only UU congregation in Lynchburg, we might consider how we can be an island of sanity and restoration. We might focus on one of these methods or a patchwork. The first type of congregation is the activist congregation. As an activist congregation, we could send some boats out to look for people who need help in this storm. The second type is the safe space congregation. As a safe space congregation, we can make sure we provide a welcoming environment when people arrive at our island. The connector congregation is the third type. As a connector congregation, we can partner with other islands to share our resources and to build up our community. The fourth type is the positive alternative futures congregation. As a future-focused congregation, we can make sure our young people know that they are loved and valued and that we are working on making the world a safer place. We can engage with our local government, speak out for the safety of vulnerable people, network with local organizations that work for justice and equity, and celebrate nonviolence and ecological sustainability. Much of this is work that members and friends already engage in, work that Terry does on our behalf in the community, or that our communities support. Today's service was developed and presented by some of the participants in the Creating Theology Together classes. In the classes, we've been exploring our personal theology. Now we are exploring the theology and actions we as UUCL might commit to. We hope that some of you will join us for the 3 remaining sessions of conversation, exploration, and commitment. The classes have been amazing and energizing, and I have loved getting to know my classmates better. Please talk to Courtney or to Reverend Terry if you're interested in joining us.
I too will add that it has been a wonderful journey, sometimes difficult in terms of confronting your own experiences, your past, and thinking deliberately about a future that you want and what you would like to see from a congregation. So I really hope you will be able to join us for any of our last 3 sessions as we explore these ideals in much greater depth. All right, then, will you please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn number 287, Faith of the Larger Liberty. Now let's take a moment to say goodbye to our friends on Zoom, and the Zoomies to say goodbye to the roomies here in the sanctuary. As our service draws to a close, we extinguish the flame of our chalice as we say these words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our final benediction this morning is by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that.
Thank you.